Now, the UK will descend into darkness in tomorrow's morning rush hour during the first solar eclipse in Britain for 16 years.
But fans and experts are worried that the view could be overshadowed for a more prosaic reason: too many clouds. Sky's James Matthews is on the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides, which is far north enough to, we hope, be able to see the eclipse at its best.
They've seen a few eclipses here over the years, thousands of years. When it goes dark this time, it'll go darkest here, in Britain at least.
We had to tape it together.
The view from the Isle of Lewis will be of a sun 98% obscured, and so there's excitement here. When the moon's shadow renders this place Britain's darkest corner of the daytime, these youngsters will be out in the playground, looking into their reflection devices. 21st century eclipses come with health and safety guidance, not to look up at the sun above.
If I look at it with my bare eyes, I'm going to burn the back of my eye, and then maybe I might not be able to see ever again.
It's when the moon crosses over the sun complete, and it's really nice to see.
It's not something that happens every day, and it's very rare and, well, special.
The ferries and planes have brought eclipse chasers to the Outer Hebrides this week. Even if the prospect of an eclipse bonanza might have been, well, eclipsed. Because the clouds that rolled in on Thursday might not roll on in time for the big event. Which isn't great news for Ralph Metzdorf and his dad Georg. For them it's all about the spectacle. They travelled from Germany to see it.
I hope tomorrow is the weather better. Yes, in the morning.
And if not?
I have Pech. In German sagt Pech, this is not good.
Not that the islanders are panicking. It's astronomers indeed are anticipating their perfect moment.
It's not just the eclipse we're getting a triple package, if you like. We're going to have the supermoon and the equinox all in the one, so it's quite an interesting time, really.
These standing stones were erected more than 4,000 years ago. What must people living here then have thought when an eclipse took place and daylight suddenly disappeared? Knowledge over the centuries means that from an eclipse now there is no fear, but the fascination lives on. James Matthews, Sky News, on the Isle of Lewis.
Well, the further north you are, the longer you'll have to wait for the eclipse to reach you. It's going to start at 8:24 in the morning and it'll last for just over 2¼ hours. If you're in London, the eclipse will be at its most dramatic at 9:30 a.m. But in Leeds, it'll be 3 minutes later. And if you're up as far as the Faroe Islands, then 9:40 is the time for you. And that's one place of only 2 places in the world where the eclipse should be a total eclipse of the sun.
So perhaps not surprisingly, 10,000 tourists are expected to travel to the Faroes, located between the Norwegian Sea and the North Atlantic Ocean. Ian Woods reports on an island hoping for the best view.
They've come to be dazzled but may be disappointed. Thousands of visitors from Britain and right around the world have flocked to the Faroes by ship and by plane to see the sun gradually disappear behind the moon. Worryingly, as the big moment approaches, the sun has already disappeared behind thick cloud. What a confession to have to put on your postcard home.
What would be a nightmare if we went back home and they saw it in England and we paid all this money and come all this way and we didn't see it? That would be nightmare.
How much does it cost you? I dread to ask.
I'm in a cabin on my own, so a single supplement.
So she's paid what we paid for the 2 of us.
Nearly as
nearly. So I think for the 2 of us
nearly
it was
5,000.
just nearly 5,000.
If you want a total eclipse rather than just a partial one, then this is almost the only place to be. The alternative is the far north of Norway. Many tourists have booked their trips years ago. Some have become globetrotters in their quest to see one of nature's most spectacular sights.
It's something I enjoy doing. I always think of age-old civilizations seeing their sun disappear behind a moon, and I can imagine the panic, and it's really quite something to experience that, I'll be honest. It's my third one now.
The second one was off the west coast of Africa, 2 or 3 degrees north of the equator, so it was overhead. We lay on sun lounges on the deck, hoping to have a brilliant experience, but unfortunately at the actual moment, a cloud came across and the heavens opened.
Locals say the only consolation is that the weather here can change suddenly, hopefully for the better.
This is called the Land of Maybe, mainly because of the weather. The Land of Maybe was given to these islands by the British soldiers during the war, because everything was maybe. So that goes with the weather, of course, as well. You can have all 4 seasons within an hour. You can have snow, sunshine, you can have everything.
50,000 Faroe Islanders will also be cast into gloom if the weather doesn't play ball. If the weather is kind, then those of us here will be able to remove our protective glasses at the moment that the moon completely covers the sun. Totality here in the capital Tórshavn lasts exactly 2 minutes, and slightly longer further north. But what are the chances we'll see anything up there?
Well, Ian, chances are actually improving. Behind me you'll find the forecast of tomorrow's cloud cover, and the Faroes are here. And the clouds are close by, but the islands are just peeking through, so all in all I give it a 50-50 chance for a brief clear view during the total phase of the eclipse.
So we may be lucky. Let's hope so, because the Faroes will have to wait 230 years for the next one. Ian Woods, Cloudy Sky News, the Faroe Islands.